cool. So anyway, yeah, you were asking about the mic stands. So I got the whole setup. I just did like some research online and came up with this whole little gizmo. They said you can pretty much use like any mics. A lot of people recommended this for getting started.
Mm-hmm.
And but yeah, it comes with like I think they're micro USBs, and then like so if you want to plug it straight into your laptop, like how you guys record, you could do that. But if you have the other like mixer kind of thing,
mm-hmm.
you have these cords, whatever they're called. I just
right
bought it and used them. You know what I mean? So like, but yeah, the whole kit, like the mic, little stand, the mic, it came with the pop filter.
Huh.
All of it for each one is $70. Yeah, and
I'm
then
do some shopping.
the little ring lights I got for the phone setups were $40 maybe. The big ones being lent to me from the guy that popped in here.
Mm-hmm.
And then the pricey thing was what you already have, basically. My little recording system.
Right.
It was like close to $300.
Yeah.
And it just kind of gets them all tied together.
Mm-hmm.
And then the software I was telling you about, it's called DaVinci Resolve.
Okay.
When I first started doing like the video podcast kind of thing during COVID, there was this other thing called...
Yeah, you've been doing this for a few years now, haven't you?
Yeah, I just kind of dipped my toes in and out. You know, it was kind of... That's why I'm kind of excited to have you on, because the first few are kind of like more business oriented. You have your own cool things going on anyways with your podcast and the band and things like that we can get into. But what I started getting into when I first started, it was just a couple of dudes being guys.
Yeah.
Talking sports ball and movies and stuff.
That's pretty much what we do on the show that I do.
Yeah.
We just sit around and bullshit
right.
and laugh and tell jokes and talk about sports and whatever else.
And that's the most fun, especially this time of year because everything's on. I mean, baseball just wrapped up, but you got football, basketball, baseball.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're soccer people, there's soccer. You know, it's just all the fun. But the system I was using before was called like Corel Digital Movie Maker. Mm-hmm. It was like $60 for a monthly or for a yearly subscription. And I have the same PC I have now when I was using that, and it just felt like I didn't have enough like ass. Like there wasn't enough RAM. Something every time I try and like up or down, it'd be like, all right, well, I'll just start it before I go to bed.
Right.
But then I cleared all that stuff out, and then I looked up when I was doing this and got that DaVinci Resolve.
Yeah.
So for anyone listening, this is kind of the blueprint to do this.
Yeah.
On a budget, like less than $500.
Right.
The camera I got is more expensive. The wide shot lens I have. I got that with some COVID money. I'll be honest. It was like $700 camera. So
spent $700 out of your $1,200 stimulus.
Yeah. Right. So, but yeah, it's just money I didn't have. So I was like, I guess I'll get a camera. You know, whatever. But yeah, so then the DaVinci Resolve, I cleared all that up, and everything works quick. Like I can do like an hour-long podcast. I can just drag and drop from the phones into that.
Oh.
And then like we did the clap thing before we started.
Yeah.
You hit audio sync, and each one of these things has audio on it. So it's just going to sync the clap together.
Okay, that's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah, and it makes editing for an idiot like me make me seem like I'm a genius. And I got people messaging me like, dude, that looks so good. It's all lined up. It's clean. And how'd you get the cuts go back and forth? And it's like, if you just learn just enough.
Right.
So that then you don't have to learn everything.
Right.
But yeah, so that software is free, and you can do like fade ins, fade outs. You can add like music if you want, and you can get crazy. Like I guess if you buy like the yearly subscription for like the Pro, it's like $400, and they use it for like short films, and it's used for like movies. Like you could like if I bought that, I could like Photoshop or whatever, DaVinci Resolve like a Tyrannosaurus behind us just doing its thing. Like while we're sitting here talking, and it'll be in 1080p the same way that we would export our video. But the base form is free. Like I don't need to do that to do this.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, but yeah. So what is some of the equipment that you guys use? I know you said you use some of like your band equipment.
So I have my own little studio set up at home.
Yeah.
Obviously because I play guitar in a band, and that's how I practice.
Yeah.
So I run all my guitar stuff through a 4-channel Behringer interface into my laptop.
Yeah.
And then it's just I have my over the ear headphones, the cans, and then I had 2 monitors too if I want those. I try not to use the monitors as much because I have neighbors.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then
what do you use the monitors for? I guess that's kind of beyond me. I haven't.
I usually listen just for like listening to music.
Oh, I
They're
gotcha.
like actual studio monitors.
Gotcha. Okay.
So if I'm doing stuff around the house, I'll open my laptop, put Spotify on, and just hit shuffle,
right.
It comes through the monitors.
Okay.
But that's also useful in like recording.
Okay.
Because I've done some recording stuff. Having the monitors gives a little bit of a different. What's the word I want to use?
It's a different feel, kind of. You can kind of
Different
see
feel,
what's
different
going on.
aspect of what you're hearing.
Yeah.
Versus.
So you can see like the gain and things like that as you're kind of going, or.
No, these are like audio monitors, not.
Gotcha. I'm thinking when you say monitor, I'm like a computer
monitor?
screen.
Computer
Right.
screen?
Yeah. I'm like,
No,
I don't
these
get
are
it. You guys
like
were just watching
studio
sports?
monitors
Okay.
for
Gotcha.
audio, so it gives you a different. You're hearing something a little bit different than what you would with headphones.
Sure.
But go back to what you asked me. So I tried doing the podcast thing with a couple of my other friends, like I want to say 2021. We tried doing a sports show.
Mm-hmm.
Got about 10 episodes in, and just I got burnt out with it because you had to take notes, and doing a podcast about sports is a lot more in depth than it is just sitting around talking with your friends about bullshit. So we just kind of gave up on that, and then not too long ago, my one buddy Steven was like, I had this idea for a podcast. I'm like, well, I have the equipment.
Yeah. I'm a big ideas guy.
Right.
Let's make it happen.
And
right.
I mean, I know audio like this, like the back of my hands. That's not a problem. I had to pick your brain on the video thing because that's the one thing that's eluded me still.
Yeah, and it's not really a super huge learning curve either. So
okay. So really all I needed to do, we had to buy another mic, another cable, and that was it. We were off and running. So we just used the mic stands that I have for the band.
So what's this new one about?
It's called Everybody Gets One.
Okay. You guys are everywhere, like Spotify, iTunes, or
Spotify, iTunes, and Amazon. I think is where I set it up.
Okay.
It's just the four of us sitting around talking about everything and nothing at the same time. It's a podcast about nonsense.
That's the best kind.
So one of them, like Steven's a guy that's got these ridiculous thoughts, and he'll bring these ridiculous would you rather scenarios to us every week.
That's fun.
And we tell a joke every week, like joke of the week and shit like that.
That's fun.
And then we just talk about everything and nothing at the same time.
Yeah.
Like, talk about movies, sports, TV shows, stuff we did as a kid that we now hate as an adult.
Oh, yeah.
Shit like that. Nothing's off the table.
I have one of my clients I'm working with now, and she sent me a video of this woman spraying fart spray like in the car while her boyfriend's like out of the car. And she's like, I have to go so bad. You gotta give me some medicine. She sprays it. And she's like, this is something my daughter would have done. And as soon as she sent me that, like a light bulb went off, and I was like, dude, I did exactly that with your daughter's mace at a party. Like I sprayed it on someone's like pant leg, and they had no idea for a little bit, and they just kind of like skunked it around the whole house party. And I've never done it. I was like 15, 16 years old, and you just see people funneling out, and I'm like, is it really that bad? And then if you ask my other brother this now, he'll be like, dude, yeah, I got it in my eyes and everything. And he's like, I like remember him like specifically out on the porch on his hands and knees, like eyes watered, like, why did you do that? Like a scene from a movie, man. No, that's super cool. That's fun. Do you guys do something that someone's presented to me about doing like on here was like Reddit thread reading?
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, so like there's a whole rabbit hole. You could go anywhere, especially with like what your guys is like kind of genre is. For me it'd be a little different, but I know they have like a Toledo one where it's like just local happenings. It's almost like a neighborhood news kind of thing. But yeah, you could get into a whole myriad of different shenanigans with that. I feel like
that's a good idea.
Yeah,
I should look into that.
That's like we were looking for content ideas when my brother and I were first getting going with this, and we were going through the Toledo one, and it's just normal stuff like, oh, this event's happening, or the mommy parade of lights is happening soon, and then like the next thread is like the city of Toledo Church of Satan is looking for a new place to like congregate. And like to me, I'm like, man, what? That's nuts. Because to me, that's so foreign to me, and I'm like, I gotta kind of like look into it a little bit. So
it's one of the most random things I've ever heard. I didn't even know that was a real thing. I started
reading through the thread, and everybody, I would assume that most people, because they're within their circle, they're just sitting there like, yeah, we had a spot lined up for a little bit, and then this and that, and then this and that, and then I clicked on their website, and it's just like, because we just had like the big vote for like the issue, 1, 2, and then whatever the other ones were.
Right.
very progressive.
Right.
You know, so like the church, apparently the Church of Satan has like this woman, it's like a chibi kind of like avatar character with like pinwheels, like, you know, we're pro-life or pro-choice. We're pro-choice, you know, blah, blah, blah. You know, if you guys want to get an abortion, go for it. I'm like, man, check them out. And then you scroll down, it's like the pentagram and like goat skull. And it's just like, what, dude? This is so crazy to me. But yeah, that's the Reddit thread stuff you could kind of get into.
Yeah, I need to look into that. So some of the stuff we've done, I'm just looking through some notes here like, so we do like a weekly Would You Rather, which is the most bizarre Would You Rather. Like, would you rather put boiling water in your eyes as eye drops or take an elephant trunk up the ass kind of shit, right?
Sure.
And we tell a joke of the week. Someone comes with, each one of us, like every week, comes to the table with a new joke.
Yeah.
And some of them are off color and borderline offensive.
Sure.
And then like I had the most random idea, like drafting our own SEAL Team 6 of movie characters,
That's fun.
like of action movie characters.
Sure.
Like I had John Wick, R2D2,
Yeah.
shit like that. And then
That's okay. That's a decent pick. R2D2. Like
because you need to pick locks and
sure
gate codes and stuff.
But you're thinking like out the gate, you're just thinking like meatheads, guys that can
like
fight.
John Cena from the Marine kind of stuff.
Right, but you
Or
throw
Vin
R2D
Diesel driving through the front door.
Right, but then you get to R2D2, it's like, man, I sure wish we had a robot.
Or exactly. Number one, he can't be killed. He's survived 10 Star Wars movies. Right. He can pick locks and do all that kind of shit.
If anybody has plot armor,
exactly,
it's R2D2. That's funny.
And then we started doing like one of the guys on the show bought a Mad Lib book, but it's an adult themed Mad Lib book.
That's fun.
And I've been reading them as Lou Holtz.
That's so good.
Yeah.
Do you have any on there?
No, this is just the order we go in the show. Okay. But the last two we've done, I've read the Mad Libs as Lou Holtz, and it's
that's amazing.
Pretty fucking funny.
That is pretty good. I mean, as a Buckeye fan, that's very, in character.
Yeah. Like we've told our best drunk stories, stuff like that. And then we wrap it all up by talking about sports.
Yeah.
So
that is fun.
We're not doing it to just,
That keeps it lighthearted though, because like I did the sports one for a while with movies and all that mixed in, and we'd do like a topic and we kind of stick to the topic and then wrap it up. We'd like migrate a little bit, but it gets to the point sometimes when it's like too rigid and you're trying to be too educated.
Yep.
Because you want to like bring value to the people that are listening, right? And we got to, I can't remember what it was when all that stuff was going on with like Simone Biles. That's kind of when it was our like breaking point. Is we were sitting talking about that, and my opinion of it was like her like whole thing is her aunt, like it's her brand that she's like the goat, right? Like she even has like a bedazzled goat on her like Leos.
Right.
And I'm like, if she's doing that, like you don't ever see like Tiger Woods or Michael Jordan, like people that are like, Muhammad Ali, Mike Tyson, like picking and choosing. Like, they would just go. Like Tiger Woods is out there on one leg sometimes trying to make it happen.
The guy won the '08 U.S. Open on a broken leg.
Right. And that's my thing. And then the argument that my co-host had, which I mean, he's just trying to be a person. Like, who are we to say what she's like supposed to do? I'm like, that's literally why we're here. Like, that's what we're doing. Right. We're here to criticize these people that we're never gonna meet.
Right.
And then after that, it kind of just like, what are we doing? What are we doing here anymore? So, but no, we had a ton of fun doing it. I'm not even like immune to going back to doing that, but I kind of want to just start something that was kind of more geared toward like business, something that could help network and things like that. But also kind of marry something that I'm interested in.
Right.
Like one of the ones we did, which just kind of piggybacking off of R2D2, was we interviewed a guy once because he had just started getting into Star Wars when we started the show. And I've been Star Wars for like ever. Like I grew up with the box set, like the gold VHS thing. Like they'd have like the interviews at the beginning of it. And when my grandpa would take us to the bank, we'd sit in chairs like this at a desk and like, we're gonna go play Star Wars, and be like, ask me about the movie. Like just being a couple of goofy little kids. And and then my buddy had just gotten hip to it, and he was like, yeah, dude, it's like, I get it. I get it. So I want to find the next tier, like the person that like met their wife through Star Wars, right? Like it's like Star Wars is like their religion. And we found that guy. And so I was just kind of surfing through Facebook, and there's this place, I think it's called like the Sith Order or something like that on there. And it's actually an awesome group of people. So what they do is it's just an organization of folks that throughout, like, I think it's a national thing. I think there's like 700 or 800 members on this Facebook group. And they just dress up and go to children's hospitals and do like hang out with the kids and things like that. And It's awesome. So I was just talking to this guy, and he's like talking to me about extended universe stuff, and it's just way over my head.
Oh, he's like
He's deep
down the rabbit hole.
deep, and we're talking about just different things and power scaling and having fun, and he like there's like an epiphany where I'm like, dude, every like major sports team I like is red, and I think that's probably just because I'm like, it's just.
Now that I think about it, I think it's for me too.
Yeah, big Darth Vader guy.
Yeah, big Darth Vader guy. Yeah.
So I mean, I have a big red truck, the Buckeyes, the Chiefs, Liverpool, the Bulls, and then like the Tigers, just because they're close, right. So I can't. Are you a Braves guy?
Oh yeah,
that's what I
big
thought.
Time Braves
yeah,
guy.
Yeah. So you guys there's some whispers going on around about Ohtani.
There's no way.
That's my other buddy says the same thing.
There's
like,
no way.
Just flush those down the
toilet. I would love to see it, but there's no way.
Right. Yeah.
No chance in hell.
That'd be crazy. Because why wouldn't you? If there's like a half a thought, why wouldn't you try and pursue it? Because, I mean, you're going to have one of the best hitters in the league. And then next year have like, a top 5 pitcher. Yeah. And they're the same guy.
Yeah.
And it's probably at a discount because if you got one of each, you know what I mean? Like payroll wise, I don't know.
Well, Alex Anthopoulos has been cleaning house with the pitching staff.
Yeah.
They tried to go off after Aaron Nola. That didn't work out. He wanted to stay in Philly, and they're going after Sonny Gray now, I think. But yeah, I've heard the Ohtani rumblings. I'm like, no, there's no way.
That'd be fun.
I'll believe it when I see it.
I don't have a lot sports wise to get excited about right now. The Tigers are so bad. The Bulls are so bad. Soccer wise, I'm a big soccer guy. Our granddad is like our grandparents are like from the skirts of Edinburgh, Scotland. So
okay.
As I kind of got older, I just want to be able to talk shop with my granddad.
Sure.
And he was a big Man United guy. If you go over to his house right now and start talking soccer with him, he'll be like, "Oh, Alec Ferguson went to the same high school as me," and blah blah blah, and not at the same time, but. So I was like, man, I don't want to sit there and just chum it up.
Right.
So I went Liverpool because it's like their big rival.
Right.
So Ohio State, Michigan kind of thing, but over there.
Right.
But yeah, so I mean that's the whole red thing, man. I don't know, it's funny, but the
oh no, I'm with you. Ohio State, Falcons.
Yeah.
The Braves. I'm not a big basketball guy, but yeah, big Darth Vader guy too.
Yeah. What about the Kirk Cousins thing? How do you feel about that little rumor going on? Have you seen that yet?
No.
Been talking about the Falcons going for
Kirk
Cousins? No.
Send a second and third rounder to Chicago. Give me Justin Fields.
Yeah, I guess so. The thing that I saw out of Chicago, just I've been itching for sports talk, so this is where we're at. The Bears, that's why they're going all in. They want to see what Fields is for the next few weeks, and then I think that's where they're gonna start shopping him or keep him or move the first round pick or whatever. Because I don't know, Caleb Williams. I mean, I get it. Especially last year, but like this year, what are they? They're 8-4.
USC 7-5.
Yeah, they haven't won a big game all year.
They should have lost 4 in a row. They lost 3 in a row.
Yeah,
they're so bad.
They don't look good, and it's a weird thing, and I just don't get what the hype is. Because like when you talk about first overall pick guys, you're looking at like, Deshaun Watson, right? Mm-hmm. Who just won? Trevor Lawrence, who just won? Baker Mayfield, who just won? And then this guy hasn't really won. Like they weren't even in the playoff last year, right?
No, they lost to Tulane and
yeah,
I forgot what bowl that was.
Yeah, but either way, So I don't know what the hype is. Like, I don't get it. Because even when Andrew Luck was going, Stanford was sweet.
Yeah.
I mean, any Ohio State quarterback. I mean, look what C.J. Stroud did last year.
Look at him now.
Right, exactly, right.
Like they're talking he's in the MVP race right now.
He's been slinging it, man, which is nice because most Ohio State quarterbacks don't do that.
Oh, right.
I just feel like ever since Troy Smith got sick, they just have been like a curse on Ohio State quarterbacks ever since. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's fun. I'm excited for C.J. Stroud. I'm happy it's working out because it's such a. You just hear everybody calling the Texans such a poverty franchise, right? Just because the way they treated J.J. Watt and Hopkins, right? But then all the other stuff and they've turned it around quick, man. So.
Well, I think the whole Texans poverty franchise thing was Bill O'Brien.
Yeah, it's fair.
Because he gave Hopkins away for a bag of Doritos.
Yeah, and T.J. Watt, they just let him walk.
Right.
Yeah, and then there's a few other people they just let him go. I can't remember who it is now, but yeah, it says the other rumor that they got or the hot topic, C.J. Stroud MVP is D'Amico Ryan's
Coach of the Year.
Yeah, dude, there's no way, right?
No,
it's got to be oh goodness, what's the guy's name up in Detroit?
Campbell.
How's it not him?
Yeah.
He could have won it last year.
Yeah, he should have won it last year.
Right.
And now they're what, 8-2?
Yeah. Depending on what happens tonight, they could be in first place for the conference.
Yeah.
And that's kind of a cool. So like we're looking at it like the sports landscape of stuff last year, and we were talking about like there's no team that left last year feeling good except for the Chiefs and the Lions. Because the Lions beat Green Bay, in Green Bay, sent Aaron Rodgers off, and now he's just on a couch.
Well, I think Rodgers was out of there anyway, but
yeah. But that's kind of it, there wasn't like a sending off or
right.
There wasn't like a rah like, oh, there goes our guy, one more win, right?
Oh, no, you lost to Detroit.
Yeah. Yeah, right, exactly.
It's like Tom Brady ending the career in New England, a pick 6 to Logan Ryan. That's it.
Yeah.
That's how you end the career with the Patriots.
And that's it. Yeah, and they just shipped him out. Or he left anyway, but yeah. So yeah, how many episodes of your guys' show have you guys done yet? So,
I think
it sounds like you're kind of just getting going.
so. We've done I think 9 so far.
Okay.
And then we've taken a couple weeks off because I was kind of not feeling that great.
Sure.
And then,
something in the air recently.
Yeah, and then one of the guys on there he's in vacation right now in Florida. So we've taken the last 2 weeks off. I think we're gonna get back at it this week. So yeah, this will be episode 10.
Cool.
So
yeah, I just think video's it's a lot more exposure. It's helpful.
Yeah.
Like for example, our first episode that we did was, it kind of came out of nowhere. I wasn't like, oh, get ready, here it comes. Like it wasn't like a preview or anything like that.
Right.
We kind of just dropped it, and it was, it's not like astronomical numbers, but my most viewed video before was like, I think it was like talking about like the Cowboys or like the Last Airbender or something like that, and they're like in the 50s, and this one has like 120 in like a week, which is pretty good.
Well, that one that you sent me, that first one you did, had like 130 some views.
Right, and but then also it's just kind of doing, I think, shorts and reels and things like that,
right.
and getting hip to that whole world, which on that software you can do pretty easily.
Yeah, I'm social media illiterate.
Yeah.
Now, my wife, on the other hand, she's got her own travel business, and she's killing it.
Yeah.
She's really good at that, and I'm not.
That's cool. Yeah, just, honestly, it's a chore for a minute, and then it's just like, okay, let me this is the podcast. Now it's uploaded here, and then video, maybe 2 or 3 things of content with it, you know, as far as like shorts, reels, like kind of grab me's. And then after that, that's kind of it. Yeah, we can kind of pivot a little bit. So you, obviously, we've talked about it a little bit.
Yeah.
You're in a band now.
I am.
How long have you been playing your preferred instrument, and what kind of got you into music, do you think?
Well, I think I started when I was 8 or 9.
Okay.
2nd or 3rd grade.
Yeah.
I went to Catholic school growing up until I went to high school. So I got started in doing the church guitar group, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. Where they, like, you get a cheap acoustic that your parents buy you, and then they teach you 6 chords, and that's it.
Yeah.
So I got bored with that pretty quick.
Sure.
And I put it down for a few years. Like, I'm not learning anything. This isn't fun anymore.
Yeah. I beat the game.
Right.
Yeah.
You beat the game, and you're just like, okay, now what?
Yeah.
So, me wanting to pick it up, I don't really know. I was young, and for the kids at home that don't know what these are, my parents had these VHS tapes of old MTV music videos from back in the 80s.
That's funny.
And they would have them go. This was before, like, you had Alexa.
Oh,
like, hey, Alexa, play this.
Yeah.
This was like background noise for when
you're
doing.
Yeah, that's like the 2000 IQ, like. Yeah. You know, we don't need to go buy the records or the CDs or anything. Like, we got it all recorded.
Yeah, that was the background noise for when they were doing stuff around the house.
Yeah.
Or before you had XM radio on your TV.
Right.
So, and then they had those going one day, and I seen this one video by this band called Dokken. The guitar player's name is George Lynch, and he's still one of my big influences to this day. I saw that, and I was like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And every musician at some point has that.
Right.
That light bulb moment where they see something, they want to go, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And then I had the OG PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
There was a Hot Wheels video game on there, and the theme song to that game was a Metallica song.
Okay.
So I was listening to Metallica at 5 years old, 6 years old, whatever it was, and the MTV stuff. So that was the start.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I started playing in the church guitar group in middle school and stuff. And I put it down, and then I think what made me want to pick it up again was when the Guitar Hero came out.
Sure.
That was a big craze.
Yeah, it was a big wave of it for sure.
The big craze in the early 2000s.
Yeah, I mean, I was still in school.
2008, 2009, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I got into that, and my parents got me this, cheap electric with a crappy practice amp just to see if I'd be serious about it, because they're not going to spend thousands of dollars on gear if you're not going to be serious.
Yeah.
So I got into that and picked it up again really quick. Music runs in the family a little bit, so there's a little bit of a gene there.
Okay. How so? Who else plays?
My cousin Johnny Rodriguez is a pretty big name around town.
Okay.
My uncles dabble a little bit with guitar and drums. So there's a little bit there. It runs in the family a little bit. So I got doing that, and then got really serious into it. I got my first nice guitar when I was like 13.
Cool.
And ended up going to Toledo School for the Arts for high school.
Yeah.
And that was like the big breakthrough.
I always wish I would have gotten into something like that. Like I want to do that thing. Going back to that real quick. We had a karate instructor on yesterday, and that's kind of what I did when I was growing up. Is that was like my outlet for getting like my breakthrough in like sports and like rubbing elbows with people and things like that. And that was it, the same thing. Like early morning Fox would come on, or Saturday morning cartoons, right? You'd have like your X-Men, Power Rangers, Ninja Turtles, and he and I both said the exact same thing. Like that's what I want to do, And then there we are in the dojo.
Yeah.
So I played everything in high school. I played lacrosse, football, soccer. I didn't play basketball for obvious reasons. I'm a little short.
I mean, you still couldn't play.
Yeah, well, I played once I played like a backup game or like a backyard game while I was like competitively kickboxing. I was doing that in high school too, and I rolled my ankles so bad.
Oof.
And I like hobbled my way home, and I had a big tournament like the next weekend. My dad was pissed.
Oof.
It was so funny, man. Like I remember that forever. I've never broken anything, but I thought it was broke. It was a bad sprain. I had to have been like a sprain because like it was just
yeah.
But yeah, I never got into any instruments, and now that I'm like older, I wish I had done something like that because like I can sit and admire folks that like play sports like a little more, but I mean everybody kind of can do that,
Right.
But I can't like just go play ball, I could, but then kids and work and my schedule is up and down and sideways. It has nothing to do really with me. I can kind of run my business, but depending on how business is going, sometimes it just runs you.
Right.
But then an instrument, I mean, you could just, one night if you can just go grab the guitar and just sit around and pluck a few chords, I feel like. Or
it's pretty much what I do.
Yeah.
Like if I'm at, like, and my wife's on the road a lot because she's got her own travel business and she's going to all these places.
Yeah.
So I don't live a very exciting life. I go to work and come home.
Yeah.
Unless I'm playing on the weekend.
Peaceful.
Yeah. So, just to keep my chops up, I'll just go in my studio and just mindlessly play for an hour or so. Or if I really want to learn something, or if I have new songs to learn for the band, that's what I'll do. But
so you have your own like studio space in like your house?
It kind of
thing.
It's like it's the den in our room.
Yeah.
In our house that's like leads to the back.
Yeah.
Backyard. I've got a table there up against the corner of the wall. I've got my monitors, my computer, my interface.
Yeah.
My guitar pedal on the floor, and my guitar's on the wall behind me, kind of a thing.
That's neat.
Got some decor and like music stuff and sports stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not an actual studio per se, but it's good enough.
It's funny how you kind of start just grabbing things. Like when we had my space isn't still quite there, but when we were at our last house, I just had our original setup. Like I had a big wall that I made full of like hats, baseball hats. I had like this thing where I want to have all the baseball hats.
All the hats.
Just every one from every team. And I made like I went to start. So our outfield wall was green and yellow.
Okay.
So I got a bunch of wood and made a wall. Like it looked like our outfield wall, and then hung all the baseball hats up by division.
Well, that's kind of cool.
It is kind of neat. I threw that thing away when we moved, but it was fun to do it. And then I had like a little spot for all my sneakers. I had like a stormtrooper kind of poking his head in the background. Then my shelf of all of like, my nerd stuff that I like having. But no, yeah, having that space, and that's kind of like my office here. We have like a putting green in the office. and everybody just comes in like, you guys don't get a lot done here, do you? Blah blah blah. But it's like, you don't want it to feel like you're going to work if you can help it, right?
Right.
Like you just kind of want it to be an extension of yourself. Like if you had to go to the studio every time you kind of had the itch, it kind of turns into a chore.
Yeah.
Like if I couldn't just stop what I'm doing when I'm at the office and maybe, putt poorly for 5-10 minutes.
Yeah, to get your mind off of
whatever
else.
it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then it's just like, what are you doing? It's kind of just like a little fidget toy, but also it's kind of badass to just have like your own little spot.
Right.
Because like mine now at home it's still got wallpaper and stuff up. We bought an old lady's house. And my room is definitely the least important in the room in the house, obviously, just because, bottom of the totem pole.
Yep.
I don't know. You guys have dogs or anything like that?
Just cat.
Cat?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's kind of just you guys.
Yeah, it's just me,
But
my
the
wife,
cat-
and the cat. Yeah.
Yeah, but priority list, at least in your mind, you're last, right?
Pretty much.
Right. So
Yeah.
we have 2 dogs, 2 kids, a wife. So I'm like number 6
Yeah.
in the pecking order.
Yeah.
So as long as I can make sure that myself is like fed, like we have such different diets, even like that we don't like cook, which stinks. I want to start doing healthier things, but like when you have a family of 4,
Right.
and no one eats what you eat,
Right.
it's like, well, again, what's the point?
Right.
So, I guess lifestyle wise, so she travels a lot and stuff. Do you ever like get to go?
Oh
with her
yeah,
or
I mean,
anything?
like I only get 3 weeks PTO a year.
Yeah.
Because I work 10s.
Mhm.
It's really only 12 days because the company counts that other day as like a day off.
Right.
So we have to be careful planning out when I'm going to go with her.
Yeah.
Like it's usually like anniversary, and she's a birthday princess and likes to celebrate her birthday, right?
Sure.
So that's usually the 2 trips that I usually take, is our wedding anniversary trip and then for her birthday.
Yeah.
And then, but yeah, she's on the road all the time.
Yeah.
So she gets all these cool, gets to go all these cool places. She's on her way back from Italy right now.
Off. That's good. That is neat.
Yeah.
That's neat.
Yeah.
I just had a buddy come back from there too, and I'm just like, dude, we went to Vegas. I've never ever really traveled. We would go different places growing up. Like with, did you guys travel much at all growing up, or
Not really.
no? We would.
I mean, the extent of my travel was to like Cedar Point or
Right.
SeaWorld when it was still in Cincinnati.
Yeah. So like one of our brothers got married in 2014 in New Orleans, and that was by far the furthest I'd ever been from home. And that was awesome. And then we went to Vegas in February, which I've never been west of the Mississippi, which I've never been close to the Mississippi for other than going to New Orleans. Like we had to like go over like the Delta or whatever it was of it. But yeah, so we went out there, and it was. I always tell people too. I mean, not that I even travel much, but a lot of people will hate on Toledo. I'm like, we got to get out of here and this and that, and I'm like, dude,
I don't understand that.
me neither. It's got kind of everything you need. It's like a big little city.
Yeah.
It's got everything you need. It's got decent enough sports. You want to go to a ball game or a hockey game or something. The scene that they have downtown is awesome.
Yes.
And it makes everywhere else look so damn cool.
Yeah.
Like it's just a good average.
Yeah.
Like when we went to Cleveland once when we were, my wife used to do competitive cheerleading a lot. And I remember going to Cleveland when LeBron was still there, and you see like the big like posters of like, we're all witnesses.
Yeah.
And it was like going to like Rio de Janeiro to me and seeing like the statue of Jesus. Like it's just like they do this for their people here.
Right.
Like it was insane. And then going to Vegas, like it was just a whole nother world. Like it's just so cool. And then you come home and there's like no lights on anywhere. Like
Right.
you see like, even like restaurant signs aren't all the way lit up. Like
Right.
it's so cool.
No, I agree 100%, especially like what you said about downtown.
Yeah.
The resurgence downtown has had in the last 20, 25 years.
Oh my gosh.
When they first built Fifth Third Field,
Yeah.
to the Huntington Center, to all the stuff around it now, like Hensville and
Yeah.
all the bars and restaurants.
They have done a good job. Because I remember when Fifth Third
Promenade
first,
Park.
yeah, that's cool. That little like what is that? The not Fleetwood. What's the space next to it where they do like the live shows and whatnot?
Hensville.
Yeah, that's cool. They're doing a lot down there. I remember like when Fifth Third was first getting like done. You go down there and that was it. You might hit Pacos, but
Yeah.
you would just go to the game and leave.
Right.
And now it's like a whole like
You go to the bar after the game's over with.
yeah,
'Cause
before,
there's-
after, depending how the game's going, in the middle, like
Right. There's 4 or 5 different bars like on the main drag of Fifth Third Field.
yeah,
And then it's a 10-minute walk from the Huntington Center.
Yeah.
So
it is a lot of fun. The Huntington Center is awesome. Like I remember when they were first talking about it. I wish they would have made the football thing happen. That would have been a lot of fun.
Oh, the arena football thing?
Yeah. That little idea was a lot of fun. That would have been neat to watch. But they get a lot of people in there, like bands and like big like concerts and things like that, wrestling venues.
Yep.
But no, the play I typically go with when I go down there anyway is I'll go to like Frickers is right there.
Yeah. And
especially beer inside anymore is so expensive. Like I was talking to, she was on the show the other day. She's the owner of Shram's, and her current goal, I was like, what are some of your business goals going forward? She goes, we want to be the Shram's Flowers penalty box. Like that, she wants to get that sponsorship deal
for the walleye.
Yeah, for season ticket holders. But yeah, we were talking about how expensive everything's getting down there. But yeah, so Frickers, their beers are like $2-3.50 a tall. You just go in there and just throw them back, and then go into the game, and then it's just you don't have to spend as much when you're there. So that's usually my go-to is hit Frickers and Home Slice. Home Slice is a staple.
Yeah,
late night potato pizza solid. Where you guys play down there quite a bit. Where are you guys usually at?
Well.
Before we keep going, what's the name of your band?
Yeah, we kind of the band's called Noisy Neighbors.
Okay.
They've been around about 15 years. I've been in the band, Jesus Christ, 7 years now.
Cool.
This December.
Yeah.
Yeah. We've had a very busy couple years. We're gonna dial it back going into next year.
Just because of like scheduling, like the demand of it.
But I mean, at the same time, it was also stuff we couldn't really say no to because it was like a cool opportunity.
Yeah, it just seems like you guys are downtown a lot. That's kind of why I segued into that.
Right. So yeah, Hensville's like the one we look forward to every year.
Sure.
It's
a fun venue.
That's a really good time. Cock and Bull's the only place we really play anymore.
Yeah.
Table 44 is not doing bands anymore.
Okay.
We're at Cock and Bull probably half a dozen times a year.
Yeah.
If not more. So, yeah.
When we were down there, do you guys mostly do like covers mostly?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We don't do any original stuff.
Have you ever like kind of dipped your toes in anything like that?
I have, yeah.
Yeah.
I did stuff I haven't written a song in 10 years, but
sure.
I did like a 4-song EP of stuff that I wrote in high school.
That is fun though.
Instrumental stuff.
That's cool.
But yeah, the whole downtown thing is like, if there would be some more venues that would open for live music and stuff, I think that's probably the only thing that's lacking right now.
Yeah.
Because outside of Cock and Bull, that's really the only place.
Yeah, none of them really have like a vibe. I mean, they have like a vibe, but like, you know, you just go in there and it's like beers.
Right.
You know, a couple shots, and then you go to the next place. It's the same. I mean, what's the one? Is it Tin Can?
Tin Can, yeah.
Tin Can's a little different, but still. I mean, I don't know. I just have always liked a noisy bar. Like, we used to go when I was younger. We would always end up at Ottawa Tavern.
Okay.
We used to have a good time down there. Like some of my I don't have too many band stories, but like one of the great ones was a buddy of mine used to play drums. His name's Dave Bustos. He's my guy if you're watching this. And I met him at Kroger. So he was telling me about some band that he used to play in, how they're coming into town. They live in like Indiana or something maybe. And they were going to play Ottawa Tavern.
Okay.
And he's like, do you want to go? I'm like, dude, I'm not really like, that's not really like my scene, but whatever.
Right.
We get down there and they went on I think at like 10 or 11 and we didn't leave until 3:30 and they didn't stop until we left. Like, you ever see like the Aristocats, like when they're like going through like the apartment? That's kind of how that felt. Like by the end of the night, the dude was on, like the lead singer was, they pulled the plug on his amp, and he was like walking around like it's like a scene from a movie. He's walking around with like his cord hanging from his mic, in his underwear, and just singing and kicking people's beer over and stuff. And the crowd was eating that shit up, dude. It was so much fun. I couldn't even tell you what the name of the band was, but I remember it like vividly. Like there's some crazy ass skinny blonde dude just marching around, singing some punk rock, dude. It was great. It was a lot of fun.
Punk.
Do you guys have anything like, I'm sure you're not like push the envelope too much. What are some of your coolest or maybe even horror stories that you guys have had like while on stage?
The coolest thing I'd say was Hensville a couple years ago was like, that was like a legit like rock star experience.
Yeah. Cause the town comes out for it.
So, and the funny thing is that day it was a Friday night and the weather was iffy that day.
Yeah.
And it ended up like I got down there to eat real quick, and then it ended up raining.
Ugh.
And the Mud Hens game got delayed.
Okay.
Which means our start time got delayed.
Sure.
And there was like a hard cutoff because of the noise ordinance.
Yeah.
So I'm in a piss poor mood.
Sure.
I'm looking forward to this for I don't know how long.
Right.
And the saving grace was it was like the third inning and the Mud Hens were down 8-0.
Yeah.
So they said just start at your normal time because they're not going to come back from this. And we got up and going. And
that's a good idea though because it keeps people down there.
Right. And then there was a show at Promenade Park. I forgot who it was, and the crowd from over there came to Hensville, and it was packed.
That's so fun. That's cool, man.
And that was probably the closest thing to like a legit rock star experience I've had yet.
Yeah,
it was really, really fucking cool.
I can imagine. I remember I was talking to the guy the other day because we used to do like perform like our little karate like routines, and I remember a few times I've done that and gotten stage fright and just like froze and been like,
oh no, I live for that stuff.
Yeah,
I can count on one hand how many times I've been nervous.
Yeah, and that's what's exciting. And then kind of once you get a knack for it, I think.
Yeah,
you kind of lean into it. Like there's I have a pupil now. I have like someone I'm mentoring.
Yeah,
and kind of back to Star Wars. I have him in my phone as his name and then pupil, and then his profile picture is the youngling that gets initially cut down by
Master Skywalker.
Yeah. So I get to see that kid's goofy little face every time he calls. But he's always like, I keep telling him like, dude, no one's gonna know you're a realtor unless you tell them. You gotta like tell them. Right. And if you're not gonna go knock on doors or write letters, you gotta use social media.
Right.
And he's like, dude, I don't know. I'm like, you got to get over it because now like someone just sets a phone in front of me. I'm like, what do you want me to talk about? I'll talk about anything. Or if someone's like, call this for sale by owner, or talk like once it becomes scripture and a part of like once you're a hobby becomes you kind of thing.
Right.
And then work's not work anymore. You're just let's go do it.
Right.
Like. But yeah, to your point, it's a lot of fun. I remember my first few times meeting customers. They'd ask me questions like crazy ass questions I have no idea about, and I'd be like, I have no idea. I don't even know who to ask. But now I'm just like, I don't know, man. We'll figure it out. I'll call the right people and, no worries.
Right.
And I just know the right trees to shake, so that stuff helps.
So how did you get into doing this? Because when you and I met, we were both working at the old Target on Alexis Road.
Right.
And so how did you get into, and that was going on maybe 8 years ago now?
Yeah, it was a while ago. So I think you left a little bit before me. I was at... once I left there, I went to Jeep for a few years.
Okay.
I tried that out. I gave it a real good try. One of our brothers works there, and he makes good money. Mm-hmm. And it kind of just got to like when I was at Target, like the point where I was like, okay, I'm like my mid-20s. I got to like find like a career. I was kind of worried about that.
Right.
I was at Jeep for a while, and it was just defeating me. I still see a therapist like every other week, just to kind of keep the wheels squeaky clean and whatnot, Mm-hmm. And we were just trying to find new things. I knew I was having a kid, and I got in with once we had our kid,
mm-hmm.
and I was just trying to think of something because I knew my kid was on the way, and that's like, it's not like a bad thing because everyone provides for their families different ways and things. Like had I had my son before I got into Jeep, I'd probably still be there.
Gotcha.
But I knew like the kind of dad I wanted to be as far as like being involved goes.
Right.
Like doing this, I can be with him breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Right.
Which is awesome.
You kind of make your own hours, right? For
the
most part?
Yeah. I mean, most people don't want to see houses at like 7, 8, 9 in the morning.
Right.
I mean, there's some people that are like older that would like appointments then to like sell their house, which is fine. But I know at least enough, like far enough ahead in advance, or if he has soccer practice on like Tuesday nights, I'm like, okay, I don't do anything Tuesday nights. Fridays, I don't do anything Fridays, like in the afternoon typically, just because I know my grandmother watches him in the morning and I don't want to leave her with him like, all day.
Right.
She says I could, but I try not to.
Right.
So yeah, we were kind of just going through that, and then we kind of got into like a weird like thing with our at that time landlord, and we were gonna try and buy that house. The whole thing got really weird, and I just started learning all of it.
Okay.
And then I was like, man, this is kind of sweet. and then we started looking at our own house, and the whole time like kind of like shadowing our realtor and like just watching like, you know, I could do this shit. Not that she was bad, but like, and then we closed on our house Christmas Eve of 2020. We had our son January 7th, and I got licensed in May 10th.
Okay.
No, January, February, March 10th. So right after my son was born, then I quit Jeep.
Okay.
Got those sweet Union. Oh my gosh, the insurance.
Yeah.
Those benefits, and I think we paid like $100 for him to be born.
Wow.
Yeah. So like, yeah, like I have like shoes around the house that he'll like kick around and step on. I'm like, dude, you better be careful. Like, you cost less than those shoes. Like, but yeah. So then like after I got out of there, I started at Lowe's for a little bit, right on Alexis Road.
Yeah.
I got in there doing their like shipping and receiving for a little bit in the morning. I think it was like 4 a.m. to like 1 p.m.
Okay.
Because in the same vein, I could kind of still do the real estate thing in the afternoon.
Right.
Keep food on the table while I'm just kind of learning the ropes.
Right.
And then I just kind of surrounded myself with a lot of people that knew what they were doing. Like being here
Right.
is super helpful. Like
Right.
I could like that was my broker. Like that just walked in here. Like last year, he was the president of Ohio Realtors.
Oh, okay.
Like so that I just have an awesome like group of people around me.
Right.
And they got like on a mentoring program when I was in here, and then like outside stuff that people don't think about, like lenders, title people that kind of just been in the business.
Mm-hmm.
There's value in I think knowing and getting to like work with people that are like your age,
Right.
You know, like so you can look back and be like, man, we came up together. We've been through so much, you know,
Right.
for the last 10, 15, 20 years together. But also, there's guys that have already been over that hump and have been doing the dance. And they have. I'm just trying to flatten the learning curve as much as I can, as quick as I can. So I got in touch with a lot of those guys when I got started.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think I was full time after 6 months, which is kind of an anomaly, I think. And I've been averaging about 24 deals a year since. Last year I think I did close to 30. This year I'm gonna be on the lower end, like I think 23, 24. But that's just because you know it's a kind of a coin flip thing, 5 deals. But
Right.
yeah, just kind of diving in, and I like the time frame I gave you. I didn't really have a chance to not figure it out. Like I have a baby at home now.
Right.
I just spent all this money on this thing. Like getting your license isn't like it's not expensive, but it's also not cheap. It's probably like total commitment like $8,000.
Okay.
But no, super fun, man, and I just love it now. Like I used to stand on the line at work and watch basketball games, and now I just sit and watch 4 at a time at home.
There you go.
Like
Yeah.
Sundays would be double time at the factory or whatever, and now no one wants to really do much on Sundays just because it's football season.
Right.
It's a blast. I can't really see myself. I mean, if I needed to, I could, take it on the chin. But once you don't have a boss and you're kind of doing your own thing,
Yeah.
like I'm sure, like especially kind of in your position, because you have like a 9 to 5 kind of deal, right?
Yep.
So, like, I mean, what do you look at more fondly, like band gigs or like work?
Well, in your position, my wife's in the same boat because
Yeah.
she worked, a corporate gig and then
Yeah.
started doing travel on the side, and then she
Yeah.
took the jump into travel full time. She's like, I can't ever go back to
No.
that lifestyle.
Mm-mm.
But me, like you mentioned earlier about like networking and stuff.
Right.
So how I ended up where I'm at now, Cleveland Cliffs.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing logistics. It's a steel company.
Yeah.
My boss and my wife got to know each other and were friends
Okay.
maybe like 6 months before I started working there.
Cool.
And her one logistics guy was going to retire.
Mm-hmm.
And he'd been there for like 35 years.
Yeah.
And she was kind of freaking out. And then her and my wife went to a conference somewhere together
Right.
and got to talking about it. And she was like, well, my husband may be interested.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where I got to talking to her a little bit about it, and she goes, send me your resume in. And
Yeah.
people say that all the time and then don't call you.
Right.
Right. And then the HR guy called me in December.
Mm-hmm.
I had an interview.
Yeah.
And then I started right after New Year's.
That's cool, man.
And it's fantastic.
Because once you have the dance done, I'm sure that there's like stuff that is like probably pretty different compared to like Target. But like once you have like the back end logistics thing down, it's kind of just a similar dance, but maybe different music. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and then in between now and Target, I had worked in I worked at a tech telecom company, but I was like a Swiss Army knife there. I did everything.
Yeah.
And then I went to Schindler Elevator, where I was more like inventory and shipping kind of a thing.
Yeah.
To where I had that little bit of experience that kind of helped me with this. It was definitely a learning curve for sure.
Yeah.
But it's great. Way less stress. I mean, it's stressful at times, especially like end of the month when they're pushing to make their goal.
Right.
For shipping tons and whatnot. But
oh yeah, that's how it is. That's why there's the end of the month, especially for lenders. For us, it's kind of whatever.
Yeah.
But for like the lending side of things, like the loan officers they push.
Yeah.
Like they do not want to close on the second or third.
Yeah. Our sales team's the same way. Like they shove everything down your throat at the end of the month. I'm like, well, there's 3 other weeks in the month you could have done this.
Yeah.
So we're not scrambling right now.
Yeah. But you just sitting on your hands for the first couple.
Right. But yeah, I love it, dude. It's a great place to work.
Yeah.
Companies treats us fantastic.
That's cool.
Quarterly bonuses, the insurance isn't the greatest, but I mean, it's insurance.
Better than zero.
Better than zero. Exactly. Yeah, dude. So without my wife meeting my now boss, because she does the travel thing on the side too.
Yeah.
I would probably still be miserable at Schindler Elevator.
It's kind of weird how it all shakes out like that. We were talking yesterday. I had the karate master in here with us, and his mother actually works. I didn't even know this until we sat down to talk. His mother works for one of my like colleagues I work with a lot.
Okay.
Like their company is like season ticket holders of Mud Hens, and he's just basically, if there's nobody going, then I'm going.
Gotcha.
So it's a pretty nice perk. But I've known that he did my own personal mortgage, and I didn't know that they were like a thing until then. But then he also knows my wife because she used to cheerlead, and he used to do like different other cool kind of crazy competitions. But it's awesome how it all kind of just works out.
Yeah, for sure.
It's kind of like a master plan kind of thing.
For sure. And then it is who you know, but then you also have to like put in the they hired me, but I also have to pull my own weight and do my job correctly, right?
Yeah.
So
there's an ism. I have no idea what it is, but it's like something along the lines of like, I don't even know, man. Like something about like luck and opportunity. I'm trying to like fish for it.
No, I'm picking up what you're laying down.
It's like a fortune cookie thing that's just whoosh.
Yeah.
But cool, man. Yeah, this has been a lot of fun. If you want shameless plug time, let everybody know if they want to book you. I know you guys are dialing it back a little bit, but like for band stuff, for the podcast, just let us know.
So, like I said earlier, Everybody Gets One is the podcast. It's on Spotify, Apple, and Amazon.
Yeah.
It's just one of those, if you want to listen to four idiots just blab for an hour about nonsense and then talk about sports at the end.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
The band Noisy Neighbors. Get a hold of me if you want to. The singer does the booking and all that stuff. So get in touch with me or look me up on Facebook, social media, Instagram, Twitter, whatever. Get in touch with me, and I'll get you in touch with her.
Beautiful.
But yeah, man,
you guys are great. You guys are fun.
Thank you. And it's a small world that you and I used to work together, and then my wife and I were looking for a house, and I ran into you, and then you ended up doing
just a busy bee, man.
Doing Brandy and Andrew's house, and then you were at the bar that one night. That was.
Well, we got tickets from them that night.
It all came kind of full circle.
Yeah, we got tickets from them that night, and even so, there's no reason in the world that they should know my brother's stepdad, and they're like best friends.
Well, that's the thing we were talking about Toledo earlier. It's the biggest the biggest little city.
It seems like,
like everybody knows everybody somehow.
Yeah, it's funny. But she knows everybody anyway, so
right.
But yeah, just wrapping it all up. So if you guys ever need any help buying, selling, investing, whatever, it's the holidays and it's kind of slowing down, but New Year's resolutions and things like that. Let me know. I'd love to help you guys out. And then if you have any other businesses that you'd be interested on maybe getting on and seeing us hash it out a little bit, I'd love to reach out and have them on. So Yeah, I'm Kyle. That's AJ, and thanks for listening, you guys.
Appreciate
we'll
you
talk to
having
you
me
soon.
out, man. It was
Yeah,
good catching up.
it was fun. It was all the fun.
Hell yeah, dude.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
See ya.
Peace.